Welcome to the Who Knew podcast with Bruce Lubin. I'm Jennifer Boudneau, the editor of the Who Knew books. Today we're talking everything Easter, from tricks for dyeing and boiling your Easter eggs to everything else you need to know for this wonderful spring holiday. But first, if you've ever felt like you had to choose between getting new blinds or holding on to your life savings, those fears end now, thanks to SelectBlinds.com. Select Blinds won't gouge you like those big greedy blind corporations. Just check the over 170,000 five-star reviews on their site. Shop today at SelectBlinds.com. Mention you heard about them on a podcast at checkout and get sample swatches. Absolutely free. That's SelectBlinds.com. Hey, Bruce.
Hello, Jen.
Happy Easter.
Happy almost Easter to you, too.
So how do you guys celebrate Easter in the Lubin house?
So normally, I guess traditionally, so it's the Easter eggs, it's the candy, it used to be like a little hunt for Easter eggs, but now that the kids are old.
Do you miss that now that your kids are older?
I miss everything now that my kids are older.
Do you try to get them to believe, and they're like, no, Dad.
Yeah, that's sailed already.
I remember your youngest believed in Santa Claus and everything late, and I kept being like, you gotta tell him about it. He's gonna be late. And you were like, no, I'm holding on.
I held on, but now all those ships have sailed.
How old is he now?
He is 13.
Yeah, so you're not getting away with that.
He's 13, no.
Like, they want the candy, and then they want you to go away,
That's exactly right. In that order, too.
So, as usual, we have today's pennyhoarder.com tip.
Yes, I love those.
Hey everybody, it's Justin with thepennyhoarder.com, and I'm here with today's money hack. While for some of us, Easter is an opportunity to make extra money dressing up in a bunny suit, for others, it's a time for egg hunts and baskets. For those people, we've got tips to help you save money on all your Easter essentials. First, skip those pre-made baskets. Instead, create your own baskets and fill them with toys from the dollar store and other fun things they'll get use out of, like loofahs, flip-flops, and fresh school supplies. Easter egg decorating kits can get very pricey, but you probably have everything you need to decorate eggs already. Check out Pinterest for all the ways you can make a DIY Easter egg dye. You also don't need to get your kids new outfits for Easter, but if you have to, check out Goodwill first. Stores like Walmart and Target often donate unsold merchandise there. You may even be able to find matching outfits depending on your sizes. You want a free picture with the Easter Bunny, right? Well, Bass Pro Shops offers a free 5x7 print at its annual Easter event. Check your local store for times. Finally, instead of going to a crowded restaurant for Easter brunch or dinner, consider hosting a potluck dinner to bring family and friends closer together for a fraction of the cost.
That was great.
It really was.
I love the pennyhoarder.com.
Me too. Absolutely. Who doesn't?
Losers. That's
losers.
People who don't like to save money, and I don't know who they are.
Who doesn't want to save money?
So Easter is this weekend.
It is.
What kind of tips do you have for us?
Oh, we've got so many tips. So the enduring problem with Easter is that you dye these eggs and they crack, right?
Yeah.
So what you want to do is when you're making your eggs, when you're boiling them, you want to do one of two things. You want to either put a teaspoon of vinegar and a tablespoon of salt into the water and then drop the eggs in, and that'll make them easier to peel and they will keep them from cracking. Or if you don't have vinegar and salt, improbably, just take the eggs and just rub them with lemon before you boil them.
Oh.
That's all you have to do.
That's a cool
And they
tip.
will not crack.
And I know the tip too, if you, after you've boiled the eggs and you put them all back in your refrigerator and you don't know which ones you've boiled or which ones you haven't.
That's right. And this is what happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
So what you want to do is you spin the egg, and if it wobbles like a drunken sailor, it means it's raw. But if it spins like a top, it's hard boiled. The other thing you can do is
because the yolk's is sloshing around, and then a hard boiled one. It's all
That's
solid.
right. So the other way you can do it is if you put even a tiny bit of dye when you're hard boiling your eggs. I know you're going to color them later. You'll always know which ones because they'll be like a little blue or yellow or whatever. Yeah,
exactly.
So speaking of Easter egg dye, let's never buy Easter egg dye.
Yes, I know
folks.
you and Jeannie are really into homemade dye.
No, we're evangelists about that.
Tell everyone some ways that you do the dye. I know you have the average one where it's just food coloring and vinegar, right?
Yeah, so that's really what you should do is you want to use a half a teaspoon of white vinegar with a half a cup of boiling water and then food coloring until you get the shade that you like. So you probably have food coloring already, so you don't have to go out and buy any of those Easter egg dyes. That's the easiest way to do it. Another way, if you're like old school, if you want to, you can use ingredients from nature.
Oh, yeah.
So you can just boil grass to make things green. You can use onion skins for yellow and deep orange. You can use beets to make it pink. It's kind of cool. So,
yeah, and all natural. One that I saw online that I thought was kind of cool was temporary tattoos, that you can actually put a temp tat onto a hard-boiled egg, and that's a cute way if you have,
well, because
that you want to put on.
That's right. And it's easy to do, and then it looks like a really sort of funky design. The other thing is, before I forget, is the easiest way to hold eggs, like to display them, is to take like a soda cap and just put the egg in the turn the cap over.
It sits upright.
Let it sit upright and put the egg in there, and then there you go.
That's cool.
No more wobbly eggs, Jen. No more.
What about when you're, because I have friends that have real little kids, one little kid and one older kid. And it gets kind of messy because you have that weird wire holder thing that comes with the Easter egg die, and you're trying to get the egg in there. So tell everyone about your tip for littler kids.
So what we always did when our kids were small is we would just put the egg in like a kitchen whisk and just sort of like snap it in there, and it'll hold. And then you dye it in the whisk.
A little tiny egg cage.
A little tiny egg cage
and then
for your little kids.
Pop it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The other thing we used to do is we always we would have Easter egg hunts, but we'd use those plastic Easter eggs.
Uh-huh.
One, because if you don't find all of the eggs, it's pretty disgusting when like a real egg goes bad.
I feel like you're speaking from experience on that one.
Plastic eggs can last. But what you do is when you're done with them, you don't have to throw them out or even save them for the year. What you can do is when your kids, in their lunch boxes, you just fill them with snacks, like instead of using a Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
Also, if you use like tomato paste, one of our tips in all our books is to fill ice cube trays with tomato paste, because you only want to use a little bit of tomato paste.
Egg carton. You just have ice cube trays.
Ice cube trays, like when you want to freeze something you're going to use later.
I know, but you can use an egg carton too. I thought that's where you were going.
No. What I'm saying is you can use your fake plastic eggs. You can put your tomato paste in. You can freeze it, and that's another use for your plastic tomato.
That is crazy. You guys are just crazy.
No, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. You know what, Jen? I'm coming over. I'm going to freeze some tomato paste.
Yeah,
I'm going to take a photo of it.
Like that.
And you will be chagrined when you see how good it works. Yes, you will be.
I also like that you say egg like you're from New Jersey.
Well, now egg. Why would that be?
Whereas I say egg. Like a Midwesterner.
More Easter egg tips. So when you, and this is good for kids too, because it's always a mess, right? Mm-hmm. So you get the dye all over your hands. The easiest way to get rid of that is to spoon like 2 tablespoons of salt into a small bowl, and then gradually mix a little vinegar until you have like a paste. And then rub that on your hands, and it'll be gone. The stain will be gone in like a second.
Oh, that's good to know. So
it's kind of magic.
Get salt and vinegar ready before Easter.
Absolutely, as always.
Throw it in the water.
As always.
If you're a regular listener of the podcast, I would hope that you have salt and vinegar in your home ready to use at all times. But if
not,
you don't,
that's right.
Rush to the store right now.
We're turning the table over.
Hopefully you're in your car on the way to the store right now to get the vinegar and salt. So that's it for our Easter tips. Let us know if we missed any or if we have any other spring tips. We always like to feature reader tips on the show. But before we go on, a bit more about our sponsor, Select Blinds. You don't have to choose between saving money and updating your window treatments anymore. SelectBlinds.com has got you covered, and their loyal customers seem to agree. Just check out the more than 170,000 5-star reviews on their site. At SelectBlinds.com, you can choose from a selection of high-quality custom blinds, shades, and drapes. It's the simple and smart way to get blinds. Select Blinds makes it easy to do it yourself, without going it alone. Measure, choose, and install your own new window coverings with the support of their online specialists. If you can hang a picture, you can hang blinds. They've served over 1 million happy customers. Why not be one of them? Shop today at SelectBlinds.com. Mention you heard about them on a podcast at checkout and get sample swatches of the room darkening blinds or shades of your choice. Absolutely free. That's SelectBlinds.com. All right, so now it's time for our Life Hack Lightning Round.
Yay!
So people who are new to the podcast, this is the section of the podcast where Jeannie puts a name of a household object on a piece of paper and puts it in an envelope, and then Bruce opens it up, and what do we have today? We have to name as many things as we can involving that object.
Interesting. It's tea or tea bags.
Oh, okay.
Oh. So I'm going to go first.
Go.
If that's all right.
Please.
So the tannins in tea, as you know, are a natural astringent. So you can use them to tone down swelling, lessen pain. It even encourages blood clotting. So you can use a warm tea bag on canker sores, on toothaches, on styes, on all sorts of things.
Ooh, that's a good one. I have one for green tea. If you brew a bunch of green tea and let it cool, it's really good for dandruff. You can put it on your scalp in between shampooing and conditioning. Just let it sit there for like 5 minutes, maybe in the shower, 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't know what it is, but it detoxifies and gets the oil out and everything.
So here's a tip for when you're done with your tea bags, you don't have to throw them out. So that makes me happy. You don't have to throw anything out. You don't need baking soda to keep your refrigerator, the smells out. You can just take some old tea bags, put them on a plate, put them in the back of your refrigerator, and they will remove odors as well as baking soda.
Oh, so, I like that.
How about that?
I have one for used tea bags as well. If you make sure they're still damp, and then put them in the refrigerator if you're a breastfeeding mom. This is actually a reader tip that we got. A woman sent it in and said they're great if you have sore nipples from breastfeeding. Just stick them right in your bra. And then they're cool, and then the tannins, too, are, again, good for healing.
Well, who knew on that, huh?
No one wants that problem.
Speaking of tips for your bod, how about taking a chilled chamomile tea bag and putting it on puffy, irritated eyes?
Oh, yeah, that's really nice. You probably don't know much about this, but sometimes when you're a woman, you like cry for an entire night, and then you wake up the next day and you need something for the puffy eyes.
Why are you crying? Oh, no reason. Just crying for the whole night.
It happens.
The other thing you can use are old tea bags if you're potting plants, and there's a little hole in the bottom.
I was about to say that I was out of tips, so
Oh well, here we go.
This is your victory lap.
This is my victory lap. So when you're potting a plant, right, and there's a little hole in the bottom of the pot. The word would be pot? Yeah. You want to put a tea bag down there. That way when you put the dirt in and the water, nothing really escapes. But there's still some sort of aeration.
That's a great idea. I always want to know what I'm supposed to do with that hole, because you don't want to cover it up completely. But
you don't.
Not cover it up because then all the soil falls through. I love that.
So that's great. Oh, but I'm going to give one more, even though I've already won. Now I'm piling on. And this is really about
rub it in
when you make iced tea. So a lot of times you make it as really cloudy, and all you want to do to make it clear is let it sit at room temperature before refrigerating it.
Yes, I remember this tip from one of your books because it kind of changed my life. It's like one of those things where the first time I read it, I was like, who cares if your iced tea is cloudy or not? And then I brewed a bunch of cloudy iced tea, and it really bothered me. And I thought
you cried all night, and I
cried all night, and I thought I'll always listen to Bruce and Jeannie from now on.
Right, yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. As always, you can find all these tips and more at quickanddirtytips.com/who knew. You can also find us at Who Knew Tips on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, anywhere where you like to do your social media-ing. And don't forget to leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts, because that always helps us find new listeners, and we love new listeners. Mm-hmm. So stay tuned until next time. We're going to be talking about second uses for everyday items. I love that.
I do too. Happy Easter, everyone.
We'll see you soon.